Hey guys, happy Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, August 27th, 2019. Super excited and honored to have our mayor, Buddy Dyer, the mayor of Orlando, on the TED Show again. We've got a lot to talk about, a lot's going on in our community, so much good, positive stuff. Look, Beth, we were just talking about you. Give us a thumbs up, let us know you can hear us and see us. All right, we already got our thumbs up. Very honored to have you back. Thanks for coming on, Mayor.
Well, thanks,
Appreciate
Ted.
it.
And hey, Beth, Ted just gave me a cup. He wanted to replace your red cup.
No,
I'm not
that
gonna
is
do
funny.
it.
That's funny. I gave him a TED Show mug, and I said it can never replace the beautiful Beth Hobart red coffee mugs, but at least this will be a black alternative to it. It says the TED Show on it. All right, so let's dive right in. Give them a little bit of background on you. I mean, I think a lot of people see you on TV, news, but they may not know a little bit about Buddy Dyer.
Well, Ted, you know what's funny about that is I've been mayor for 16 years. We're growing in Central Florida by 1,500 residents every single week. So a lot of people are new to the community since I've been elected mayor. And one of my city commissioners introduced me the other day, and they did trivia on me versus doing the introduction. And it's like, you know, where did he grow up? What college did he go to? And not many people got the answer to that. Not anybody actually got what is my real name. So
tell them, what is your real name?
My real name is John, and I'm John Hugh Dyer Jr., and my dad was John Hugh Dyer, but everybody called him Butch. So my mom did not want everybody calling me Little Butch. So Buddy somehow came around.
Moms always come in with the thought process there, right?
Yeah.
And you grew up in Kissimmee?
So I was born in Orange Memorial. So I was born about a mile from here in Orlando, and grew up in Kissimmee. My dad owned cattle trucks, so he's a cattle truck driver. My mom owned a Western wear store named in the 70s, and it was named the Mod Cowboy. So I still have some cowboy boots that I got way back in the 70s.
I love it.
My first job growing up was shoveling manure out of the back of my dad's cattle truck, and you know I've used that in quite a few
I was going to say,
speeches.
I didn't want to say it, but I was very glad you did.
Well,
people are saying they love you, by the way.
So I keep wanting to look at you. I know I'm supposed
That's
to
all right.
look at
No.
you.
Just you do you.
So I went to, graduated from Osceola High School, Cowboys with a K, played football and baseball, went to Brown University and got an engineering degree. Was on the rugby team. John Kennedy actually was on my rugby team, so I got to know him
I did not know
very
that.
well. Brian Moynihan, who's president of Bank of America now, is our scrum half. So going from Kissimmee to an Ivy League school was quite a change and an eye-opener for me.
And then you came back.
I came back. I always intended to come back to Florida. I worked 4 years as an engineer and saved enough money to put myself through law school, and went to the University of Florida, got my law degree, and came back to Orlando to practice with a firm that I had a law clerkship with after my first year in law school. And in 1992, I'd been in practice several years, and it's a reapportionment year for the legislature, and there was an open Senate seat that was going to be likely won by a Democrat. I jumped in when I was 32 years old and was fortunate to win that seat. And so,
Did you always want to do politics?
You know, I think it kind of evolved. And when I went to Brown undergrad, it was 2 of the years I was there, it was the most expensive school in the country. But I got so much aid from the federal government and equal opportunity grants and scholarship that I came out with $4,500 worth of debt total at 3%. So
wow.
I took as long to pay that off as I possibly could. But I had an interest in public service as a way of giving back. And I served 10 years in the Senate. I was the minority leader a number of those years. The first year I was in the Senate, we had a 20-20 tie in Democrats and Republicans, and it was the most interesting time to be there because you couldn't really pass anything without building consensus on both sides, and it never worked better than that when neither side actually had control of the body. I ran for Attorney General in 2002, and although I had 29 out of 30 editorial endorsements around the state of Florida, I lost to a guy named Charlie Crist. And it turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to me. Right after that, Bob Graham asked me to come to DC and be his general counsel. He was getting ready to run for president. And Jeb Bush had just been reelected to governor and appointed Mayor Hood to be Secretary of State in December. And the Orlando City Council called a special election for the third week of January. There were already 7 people running for that, and I just had a whole bunch of people come say, you need to run for mayor. And I had not even been in
Yeah, what
City
was your
Hall.
thought process when somebody says that to you? You're like, really, mayor?
That's exactly what my thought process was, because I'd spent no time around local government. All my experience was in state government, and but a lot of people from different walks of life in different areas of the city had come to that conclusion. Firefighters and the police union both said, we're not going to endorse until you decide if you're going to get in the race. And about 6:30 one morning, the pastor of the largest AME church in Orlando called and said, we've just been praying and we think you should run for mayor because you're the one person that we know on the west side that can also walk in the business community side and represent all the people of Orlando. And that kind of pushed me toward wanting to run. And then I thought, this is going to be a 3-week race anyways, so I can do that. And I just come off that AG's campaign, and the Democrats had been beaten soundly around the state of Florida. So people from all over the state came and volunteered at the campaign, and we ended up winning in a runoff, and I've won 4 times since then.
I was going to say, so 16 years, correct?
I'm finished 16. I'm in my 17th year. So it's one of those things where the window closes and the door opens or whatever, and you don't know that it's actually the best opportunity you've ever had. And I just pinch myself every day that I am mayor of this great city at this period in the life of the city.
And it's changed so much, even in the 16 years. It's changed. I've been here since 1976. It's changed so much over time, but really, I feel like, especially during your tenure, it has changed tremendously. We did a show earlier with several chambers of commerce, and we were talking about the collaborative spirit that exists in our city and around our city. I just feel like we are a very inclusive city, and a lot of that has to do with a lot of the initiatives, a lot of the things that you've brought. I've had Chris Castro on the show. I mean, we've had the amazing sustainability, all of the things that you and your administration and the people that work for the great city have brought here.
Well, tell everybody where we're sitting.
We are sitting at the Citrus Club.
Looking north out of the Citrus Club at the Plaza building in the Solaire. And when I took office, that was the old Woolworths and McCrory's, and had been vacant for over a decade. And that was one of the first important things we did, was redevelop that block. And it was a catalyst for all of the things that came downtown, because people then believed that we were willing to put our political capital behind what we were saying, and downtown revitalization was one of the important issues that we campaigned on.
And it feels, we talk about it on the show a lot, the city itself just feels like everything is progressing. We think through things, we actually have a great collaborative spirit that touches it touches business, it touches the chambers, it just touches the different neighborhoods. Everybody feels, I feel like, there's this inclusive feeling in this city.
I hope so. I think our city is one that you don't have to be third generation to be part of anything you want to be in. We have a big table. You're free to pull up your chair as long as you're willing to work and be passionate about whatever it may be, whether it's the arts or economic development or neighborhood or athletics. And we do embrace diversity and inclusion, equality. After Pulse, the world saw what type of city we were, but we were already that city. It just kind of shined a light on it.
It shined so brightly during that. And I think all that did was just exponentially further the focus on how amazing the initiatives that the city, our area, really does embrace. I think that we have become a city where that's where people look to Orlando. What's Orlando doing? And I love that about our city.
I think we do a lot of things and give other cities the cover to also do it. We were one of the first cities in Florida, maybe Central Florida, to do a domestic partnership registry. and St. Pete and Tampa and some other communities did it after we did. So we're probably a little more progressive than cities north of Miami and Broward County, but it gives us the ability to stretch a little bit
Right.
and give other people the opportunity to come with us.
And so you're in your 17th year, and then you have chosen to run again. You are now a candidate for mayor.
I am a candidate for mayor. You know, I have a long, steep learning curve, so it took me 16 years to figure out how to do this job. So now I can promise you that I can give you a great 4 years because I finally learned how to do this. But I'm as excited. Actually, you know what? I think I'm more excited about running for mayor now than I actually was in 2003, because in 2003 I didn't know what I was getting into,
Right.
and now I know exactly what I'm getting into.
You've watched all of the things that have grown and have been built under your tenure, and now it's so cool to have that all going forward, and you want to, I would imagine you'd want to see it through. You want to see how it progresses and how it comes to fruition.
Well, you want to know a great example. So the UCF Valencia downtown campus is opened on Monday. So we have 8,000 additional people in our downtown every day, between the students, the faculty, and the staff. But that took 16 years to get to where we are. And if you don't have a continuity of leadership, maybe you don't ever get there. In 2005, EA told us that they wanted to grow in Central Florida but didn't have the talent pipeline, and UCF stepped up and the city stepped up, and we created the Florida Interactive Entertainment Academy, and that gave us a basis for what that area could become. And then 2008 we did the venues deal. We were going to relocate the arena, and it gave us the opportunity to redevelop 69 acres in the heart of our downtown, and we were very thoughtful about it. And not many cities get the opportunity to do that. So if you're going to do it, you do it once and you do it right, and I feel like that's what we've done.
Well, one of the best things I've ever done was I was blessed to be part of the Mayor's Academy. And what that showed me, even though I've lived in this city since I was 11, I didn't know so many of the things and so many of the programs and the outreach and the amount of services that as a city, I'm not talking county or anywhere else, as a city that we provide and how far reaching it is. It was so wonderful to see all of the programs that are in place. I love the water plant. I mean, you all should really take some tour. The city is so good too. That's the other thing that I love about our city is that they're open. There's an accessibility feeling that it doesn't matter who you are or where you're from. If you want to learn about the city wants you to learn. They want you to partake.
So that's a good plug for the Mayor's City Academy, and it's open to anyone. We always have 2 or 3 times as many applications as we have spots, but I don't know anybody that's gone through it that doesn't say that was one of the cooler things I've done. You have 10 Thursdays in a row. You visit every department in the city. The firefighters cook dinner for you at Station 1. You tour the Amway Center or the Citrus Camping World Stadium. Sorry about that. Or Camping World
I
Stadium.
can say the same thing.
Visit the wastewater treatment plant and learn how sludge is made. That turns out to be, a lot of people say that was their favorite thing that they did.
It was it was just so cool to see the behind the scenes. And what I loved about it was that, again, everybody was so friendly and accessible. I think that if you don't know what's going on in the city, you're just not asking. I think you need to get I always encourage people, get involved and ask the questions, because the administration, the city employees, everyone who works as a team, it's really a team. When I went in and saw some of the presentations at all of the different places, and you all should look it up, you should really go to the website and you should take a look at all of the things that the city does on a daily basis and all of the programs and the people that are impacted. It was mind-boggling, the amount of administration that has to go into running our city.
And one of the comments that I hear a lot is people saying how passionate the city employees are about their jobs and about serving the citizens. And I find that every day, that we have a great workforce that takes great pride in their work.
Really do, and you can't make that up. I mean, they could have on the sly said, "Oh my God, this mayor, man, it's crazy," and nobody said anything. It was just, it's a very passionate group, and a very open, accessible group. And I keep using that word accessible because I want people to feel comfortable to reach out to the city, to go to cityoforlando.net and go and look at the amount of services that our city provides. All right, so what's next? Everybody wants to know what's going on in Orlando. There's so much growth. You can read about the companies that are coming in, the trains that are being built. And so I think it would be really cool if we could kind of get a glimpse into what's going on and what's next.
So Creative Village is the UCF Valencia campus is opening, but it also is much more than just the academic part, and we're only on phase one. But there is a student housing building that has the Valencia Culinary School on the 3rd, 4th, and 5th floors, and then student housing from there to 15. And oh my gosh, I wish I was 20 again in that housing in downtown. But it'll eventually have a central park. It'll have commercial. We hope to lure businesses, digital media type businesses, emerging media businesses there. There's all types of housing. There's Amelia Court's already finished, and it's 40% affordable. So I look forward to that. The Performing Arts Center, the 3rd hall, phase 2 will be finished within a year from now. So that's extremely exciting. We're looking at ways to get Sunrail eventually to the airport, which would mean 7-day a week and more frequent service, which I think is important. But we're not without challenges. Affordable housing is a challenge. We have 1,500 people moving to Central Florida every single day. And when we came out of the recession, it was more lucrative for builders to build expensive housing than more affordable housing. So we have a housing shortage, or rents have also gone up. We still have issues with homelessness, and we have to keep up with our transportation infrastructure, although we spent $10 billion over the course of 5 years, including I-4, the Expressway, Wekiva Parkway, phase 2 of Sunrail, the southern terminal of the airport. Much more is needed there. I'll be supporting Mayor Deming's initiative to get some dedicated transportation funding on the November 2020 ballot. That's an important issue. And then bringing the world to Orlando continues to be important. We have become the sports entertainment destination, I think, in the entire country. You think about what we've had just recently, from the MLS All-Star Game to the Gator Miami Kickoff Classic, which was the highest rated game in like 3 or 4 years on ESPN.
How was a game? As a Gator, how did you feel?
Oh my gosh, it was not satisfying. We were happy with the win, but it's
really cool. It's cool to have it here. I just think people don't realize this was just not this 5-10 years ago. We have just made so much progress.
If we had not made the investments in the Amway Center and Camping World Stadium, you think of all the events. I bet everybody out there has been to something this year that at the Amway Center or Camping World that would not have been in Orlando if we had not made that investment. Backstreet Boys were at the Amway same time the Gators and the Hurricanes were playing. So we had 100,000 people in downtown Orlando on Saturday night, and somebody's probably going to write in and say, yeah, and there was traffic congestion. So we are working on a study for more efficiently moving people around, because it's common for us to have 2 or 3 big events, either at the soccer stadium or the Amway Center or the Camping World or the Performing Arts Center on the same night.
I think people just, again, going back, the city's really good about posting the road closures and the things like that. It's just that you just have to take that extra step to do it. I come down a lot, and if there's 3 events going on, one at Amway, one at Camping World, and one downtown, there's a lot of, like Wall Street has a lot of events. You know, you just have to know where you're going and where you need to get to. You just have to kind of figure out the roads.
And it'll be helpful when I-4 is finished a year from December, because that adds to the havoc related to transportation.
So tell me a little bit about, let's talk about Tropical Storm Dorian. I don't want to leave without talking about that, because the projections are that Sunday morning it's supposed to be pretty close to our coast, if not coming inland around then.
Most of the projections that I have seen have it coming pretty close to Orlando, entering from the east, coming across the state. There's a few that has it squirting north up into the Atlantic, which we hope ends up being the case. But we know how to do hurricanes, right? We know that we need to be prepared. You need to fill your bathtub with water. You need to have a plan. You need to watch your local news to see what's happening with the hurricane. You need to know where everybody is. Keep yourself informed on what the storm is doing, and go ahead and make your preparations now. Don't wait till Friday night or Saturday to do that. Get what you need, and you always should think about having 3 days worth of supplies in the event power's out 2 or 3 days after that.
Yeah, better safe than sorry, guys. I mean, I think it's super important. I'm a former insurance guy, a recovering insurance person. And so it's super important. Just get your supplies, get the basics ready. Even if you overdo it, it's still good for you. It's still a good place to be, to have the extra water, to have the cars gassed up, to have your bathtub filled. I mean, it's just a few minutes of prep time that will save you a lot of anguish later if
Have a
something
little
does
cash
happen.
on hand. Is
That's
always
right.
a good
Have
idea.
cash. We're very prepared, but it's still good. It's been a while since we've had to kind of deal with anything like this, but if it comes through, you just don't know, and you just don't know how long your power will be out. And so it's just better for you to be prepped.
I don't know how it always happens this way, but every hurricane we've had comes on a weekend.
Always, right?
Charlie was on a
Charlie,
Friday
yeah.
night, and then Francis and Jean were both over the weekend, and that was my second year as mayor, and we hadn't had a hurricane in 40 years.
Oh, God, yeah, it
when
was
Charlie
back to
came
back.
through. And so I said, look, this is our once in a lifetime hurricane. Charlie, the last one was Donna in the early
Yep.
60s. And then there comes Francis.
That was the craziest hurricane
And there comes
season.
Jean.
Look, you just got to be prepared, guys. All right, so any parting words of wisdom for them? Anything you want to share with them before we head
Well,
out?
we did mention that I'm up for re-election, and it's right now. Qualifying is the second week of September, and the election is November 5th. There'll be a period that you can early vote or ask for an absentee ballot to vote, but I would encourage everybody to not take it for granted and to go out and vote.
I mean, it's a joy to be with him. You can't make this up. This is really good stuff. What I love about our mayor and about our city is the accessibility. If you see Mayor Dyer at an event, go up and say hello. These are not scary political figures or leaders. These are people who are real people who really have your best interest at heart. And it's always a joy to see Mayor Dyer out, and the amount of things that we provide in our city, bar none, it's the best. I love living here, and you have certainly been a catalyst in making it the collaborative feeling, the collaborative city that I think we all feel who are super involved. So thanks for being on the show.
My pleasure.
Reach out to Mayor Dyer.
I always tell all my other mayor friends that I'm the happiest mayor in America, and I believe that.
I believe that. Thank you, Mayor Dyer. Thank you guys so much. Reach out if you have questions afterward. We're going to follow them, so post any of your questions. If we didn't get to them earlier, please reach out. We want to answer the questions. We don't want you to sit there with a question and not feel like you have access, because this is the most accessible mayor. Certainly I love Mayor Demings too. So we have the most accessible leaders in our area ever, that I think. So thank you guys so much. Mwah, we love you. Thanks, Mayor Dyer.